Добрый вечер, дамы и господа и уважаемые дети. Мы в прямом эфире. Ольга Шоу для вас, для всех. Как всегда, в прямом эфире. Итак, у нас сегодня в гостях Брайан Дэвид Джонсон, как мы и обещали, Intel Futurist. Hello, Brian. You're live on air. Hello, everyone. Hello, Brian. Oh,
yes, hello.
Oh, yes. Hi, how are you? So here you are. I know that you're in Portland, Oregon, and we expect you to be live in studio someday, right? We are working on it. Is that true?
We are working on it, yes.
All right. So how we can tell our public that you are the one, you're a futurist of Intel.
I'm a futurist.
Yes, and you can tell all about future of things and
yes.
technology.
Yes.
So how long do you work for Intel?
I've been at Intel about 10 years.
10 years. And as a futurist, how many years?
As a futurist, they appointed me their futurist in about 2009, 2010.
And I know, and I saw your presentation at many technological conferences here in Bay Area and beyond. So that was quite impressive. And here you are live on my show. I'm very pleased and impressed. And I know we have a lot of listeners right now, and we received some of the questions already. But let's start with your presentations, because I know people would want to know what you expect in the future as a futurist.
Olga, it's my job to look 10 to 15 years out and model how people will act and interact with technology, essentially what it will feel like to be a human 10 to 15 years from now. And I do that from a very pragmatic standpoint, because for my company, Intel, it takes about 5 to 10 years to develop the chip, to develop the technology. So it's a very pragmatic and business importance for Intel to know today what people will want to do 10 years from now. And so when I look 10 years out, probably the most important thing that I'm seeing is that around the year 2020, the size of meaningful computational power, so the size of the chip, begins to approach zero. So what that means is that it gets so small, it gets down to 7 nanometers, maybe 14 nanometers or 7 nanometers. And 7 nanometers in size is about 21 atoms across. And so when the size of computational power gets that small, it means we can turn anything into a computer. We can turn my desk here into a computer. We can turn my jacket into a computer. We can even turn my body into a computer. And it really fundamentally changes the questions that we ask ourselves about the technologies that we're building, not only inside of Intel, but I think all around the world. That for decades we asked ourselves, can we do something? Can we make a desktop small enough to fit on somebody's lap? Can we make a laptop computer small enough to fit in somebody's pocket or somebody's pocketbook, like a smartphone or a tablet? We always ask, can we do it? But when you have the size of meaningful computational power approaching zero, and you can turn anything into a computer, then we have to ask ourselves, I think, a fundamentally different question. We have to ask ourselves, what? What do we want to do, and why do we want to do it?
Right, but then if it's very small computer, then like my mom would say, well, I cannot see anything, like from the smartphone. Of course, now she likes it, but if it gets smaller and smaller, then how are we going to see all of this on the screen? I mean,
well, the idea with that is that it's the computational power that's getting smaller, which means we can just have more devices and we can make anything smart. We can make anything intelligent. Essentially, we'll be living in a world where we're surrounded by computational intelligence. And I'm not saying that laptops or tablets or TVs or any of those things go away. I think we'll just have more computational power in our lives, in the walls of our homes and in our cars and in our clothes. And I actually think for your mom, it's of vital importance for us when we're building technology that we're making sure that technology is tailoring itself to her. She shouldn't have to tailor herself to the technology at all.
That's good. And then always like technology, in terms of, I read one of your presentations before where you said, okay, now computers would be everywhere, they could be invisible, And what can you say about that?
Well, I think we're beginning to see that we will be living in a world where we're surrounded by computational intelligence, and you have computers essentially turning into a specter, turning into a ghost, so that you won't see them all the time. Right now, we live in a world where we think about the smartphone or the tablet or the TV or the laptop or the Ultrabook. We live in a world that's very device-centric. But when you get computational power that's that small, that means our entire world becomes intelligent. We can put computational power and computers in the walls, like I said, in our shoes. We can put it wherever it does the best good for people. And I think that should be our goal, is how do we use all of this intelligence? How do we use all these computers to make the lives of people better? Because I think that's ultimately what it's my job to do.
I know you wrote a book, Vintage Tomorrows. Would you please tell me about that? How did you come up with that idea?
Yes. So Vintage Tomorrows is a project that I embarked on with James H. Carrott. James is a cultural historian. And so the tagline for the book, Vintage Tomorrows, is Vintage Tomorrows, an historian and a futurist journey through steampunk and into the future of technology. And the whole project began a few years ago when James and I were having a beer in a bar up in Seattle, and that was our joke that we start the whole book off with, is that a futurist and a historian walk into a bar and ask, what can steampunk teach us about the future? And we were talking, and James was telling me about this subculture called steampunk. And steampunk is a very vibrant subculture or counterculture that's going on today that is taking 21st century technology and putting it back into the Victorian era. So they're taking the capabilities of all the devices in our world and taking it back into the world of steam engines and clockworks and gears and things like that. And many people who see steampunk think it's nostalgic. They think that people want to sort of go back to a simpler time, or they'd rather be living in the past. But what James was saying is that's not actually true at all. They're not against technology. They're not anti-technology at all. Actually, steampunks love technology. James, as a cultural historian, had done a lot of work with hippies and beatniks, a lot of countercultures, and he pointed out to me that if you wanted to be a beatnik, you had to go and live in New York City. If you wanted to be a hippie, you had to go to San Francisco. But if you want to be a steampunk today, all you have to do is go online. So it's a subculture that embraces technology, and they use it and they love it. And so I asked him, said, so well, if steampunk's all about technology and they're playing with the past, if they're changing the past, doesn't that mean they want a radically different future? And it was that question, Olga. It was that question that really set off of our research, because we found that so very fascinating, that you could have people really working out their desires and their relationship with technology through this subculture, pointing us towards a very, very different future.
I did meet them last year. Thank you very much that you introduced me to them. I did not know about steampunks at all. I didn't know about the Victorian era in our lives in the past, but through the books. And then I saw them actually live and present with all of their technological, adventurous spirit and some equipment I never would come up myself and built just like they built, and also clothes, wonderful clothes they have been wearing. And the movie you actually presented at the time, which I think you did it at Burning Man Festival.
The part of the project did take place at Burning Man. Yes, part of it did. The film that came out along with Vintage Tomorrows, it happened very naturally. We were midway through our research, James and I, and as a part of our research, one of the things that we like to do is get all of the people that we've been interviewing, all the people who have been kind of helping us to explore steampunk. We wanted to get them together and have a dinner where you sit down and you have a conversation about steampunk and technology and culture, and it's always very fun. You have a lot of wine and you have a lot of good food, and there's a lot of great conversation. And I was explaining this to a documentary filmmaker by the name of Bird McDonald, and Bird said he would like to come and film that dinner because there'll be steampunks and they'll be dressed up, as you said, Olga, in their wonderful clothes, and it would just be, he thought it would be wonderfully visual. So he came, he brought 4 cameras, and we took over a restaurant in Seattle, Washington, and he filmed all night. He filmed us having this conversation. It was a wonderful conversation where we had lots of laughter and also lots of argument, and it was great. And at the end of that night, actually, it was in a different bar. I was sitting with the director, Bird McDonald, and Bird leaned over to me and said that he would like to make a documentary film based upon our book, the book that James and I were writing. And I said, "Oh, that's wonderful. Please, that would be great." But then he said, "No, he wanted to do more than that. He wanted to make the documentary based on our book, but also he wanted to film us finishing our research, just going through and exploring this world of steampunk." And we thought that was wonderful. We said yes. So he came along with us. So now, as James and I were traveling all over the world, doing research for the book and writing and talking to people, we now had a documentary film crew following us around while we were doing this and kind of documenting the whole process. And the way that James and I write, so the type of writers that we are, we're very naturalistic. So the story is not, in the book, is not a dry academic work. It's very much an adventure and very much a journey, and very much our lives and our personalities is how we write in our book. And because Bird and the documentary crew was there with us, we wrote them in the book. So they now became a part of the narrative of the book as well. So you had a documentary film based upon a book, but then the book was also writing about the documentary film. So it became a very interesting project.
And tell me, please, what's the name of that documentary?
The documentary is the same name. It's called Vintage Tomorrows. It's the same. There's a trailer for it up at vintagetomorrows.com. You can also search it. And I just spoke with the director last week, Bird, and he told me that they're entering it into some film festivals, and I think you should be being able to see it relatively soon.
Great.
Although you saw the sneak preview of it.
Yes, I did see that. I'm the always lucky one, and I'm one of the first one to see all of this. So, and I was very impressed to see that, and actually not only to hear, but see the movie as well. And I recommend everyone to see that because it's really eye-opening event. And actually, I would like to invite, if you want to bring live on air here at the studio Steampunks. I know some of them live very close by, like Walnut Creek and Fremont, not far away from San Jose, capital of Silicon Valley. Please, you can do that if you want to bring James to your next interview here and talk about that more and your experiences, or even director of the movies. Please, I give you all of the freedom in the world because I know you very well. So if somebody wants to join you at our interview next time, I would be happy to join you guys here at our studio.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Thank you. I know that James is very much interested in coming, and we both want to be in the studio with you. I also know that that California, and specifically Northern California, there's a lot of steampunk activity. There's a lot of conventions that happen in and around Silicon Valley and San Francisco and Oakland and that area. And so there's a lot of, if people, your listeners want to get out and want to see these different folks and see this amazing culture, there's lots and lots of opportunities. And of course, you can find it all on the internet. There's lots of different links, and I think that James would love, and we would love to bring some of these amazing artists and amazing creators so that you can meet them and talk to them.
Great. I actually do need to announce the phone number. I know my cell phone running off the hook here. Our studio phone number, which we can connect you to our live on air show, it's 408-912-5265. 408-912-5265. We have a programming from 7 to 8 in English. From 8 to 9 we will have in Russian language. So if somebody was calling me, please redial it to 408-912-5265, and Brian Johnson will answer those questions. And if you would not be able to reach us right now, we can bring those questions again for next time. I would like to find out about your education. Would you please tell us?
I was pretty much born to be a futurist, Olga. I was raised by engineers. My father was a radar tracking technician. He worked for the Federal Aviation Association. He worked in radars. And my mother was an IT specialist. She was an information technology specialist working around Washington, D.C. So I was raised around technology and raised around computers. My father, when I was very, very young, used to come home from the radar and he would bring the electrical schematics. And so he would come and he would tell me the story of how the radar worked and show me how the electricity moved through. And he would tell me a story. And I realized only much later in life that he was doing that around the time that I was learning to read. That he had always gave me this proficiency in sort of understanding technical documents. And then the next week he would bring that part home from the radar, because they were decommissioning it, and allowed me to take it apart. So now I could actually see how the piece worked. And then I was also very fortunate because my mother, working in information technology very, very early, this would have been the 1970s and the early 1980s, was always bringing home computers. So I had been working on computers and programming computers from a very young age. My first job ever was when I was 10 years old. I worked in a computer lab. I actually taught economics students at the local college how to use their computer because I was working in the computer lab and then also taking classes. So I was taking classes at a very, very young age and learning about sort of code and writing software. And then when I went to college, I went to school at the New School for Social Research. So I went to Manhattan. And the New School was a really special school and for me, a really great decision because I'd always grown up with this tremendous curiosity, not only about technology, but also about history, as you saw from the Vintage Tomorrow's work that we've done, but about culture and about science fiction and about any number of things. And what the New School for Social Research allowed me to do was take classes in a completely interdisciplinary environment. The New School was quite special back then because you could take Marxist economics classes, and you could take film of the 1960s, and then you could go and take an art class, and then you could go and take technical classes. So you could take really any class that you wanted to, and sometimes at any level. So it provided me, coming from I grew up in a very, very small town, and moving to New York City, provided me this sort of wonderful kind of open interdisciplinary education that I think really kind of got me ready for being a futurist.
Wow, that's very good. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you have a big family? Did you grow up, or just one son?
No, I have an older brother and an older sister. I was the youngest of three.
Where they also went into technology, or just you?
We all went into technology. So my sister works for AT&T and Lucent. She's worked there for her entire career. And my brother is a researcher, is a technology researcher.
So it's kind of genetically was brought in the family and continued to grow. And my God, this is like wonderful job. Talk about future. Look for it into the future. And I need a mentor, some sort, to know about future, because this is like wonderful life and idea and research you done, and I really impressed, and I'm very lucky to hear you live, and hopefully you will be soon in our show. Tell me about like when I read something about that people could be like, how I can say that. But they would be so far behind computers that we definitely will be still cleaning the bathrooms while and our computational power does not grow as computers. So we still will be, would not be able to transfer the jobs to China. That's my words, because we need to clean our bathrooms here. So, but it's kind of seeing myself just to do nothing but cleaning bathrooms. This kind of not how I envision myself. I would like to be like close to futurist, not closer to the bathrooms. I mean, I would be using it, but not cleaning per se. I mean, what is that? Why? What did you try to say with that?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So that was a talk for the past few years, I've been doing a lot of research on the future of work. You know, what will it feel like to be a human and work? And I think there's some amazing things that can happen and will happen when it comes to the nature of work. And a lot of this is tied to the notion that we'll have more computational power. We know that we'll be able to turn anything into a computer. We'll have increasing computational power every year. We also know that we will be living very soon in the era of big data. We'll have lots and lots of information. Human beings and businesses create lots of information about ourselves, about our financial data, about our social networking, about our preferences, about who we are. And a lot of this goes and is put up into the cloud, right? We have algorithms talking to algorithms. We have machines talking to machines, all kind of crunching through and using this. And this is a wonderful thing. It will make us more efficient. It will make us more sustainable. It can make us healthier. It can do a lot of things, but we always have to remember about the human impact. And this is one of the things I think that we forget about all too often, that we like to have these wonderful visions about the future of technology and lots of intelligence and lots of machines and robots and self-driving cars and all of these, which is all very well and good. But I always push my company at Intel and always when I talk and speak publicly, I always try to get people to not forget the humans, and that ultimately technology by itself is meaningless. All those ones and zeros, all those smart machines are meaningless until it comes back and touches the lives of people, and until it makes their lives better. And I think this is a bar that we need to hold ourselves to. I believe that everybody should hold themselves to that, is how do we take the work that we do and strive to make the lives of people better. And so as a futurist, when I go out and talk to people about the future of work, they always think that I'm going to be talking about robots and self-driving cars and space travel and all these things. And I make a point that when you look 10 years out, there's still several jobs that computers won't be able to do. And then as you saw, Olga, I show a picture of a toilet and say that, you know, in 10 years from now, human beings will still be cleaning toilets. There are lots of jobs that human beings are very, very good at. And there's lots of jobs that we would value, things like surgeons and journalists and jobs like this. And a lot of those jobs are actually going to be taken over by robots. We already have robots and computers performing surgery, and it's actually a good thing. We want computers and robots to do surgery because they are much steadier and much more precise than the human hand. And they certainly need to have supervision from human beings, but it actually makes our lives better when we have robot surgeons. We also have algorithms that are writing newspaper stories, that are journalists. And now this isn't a bad thing because they're actually covering events that we couldn't get people to. There were many people, because of the cost, we wouldn't be able to have an actual journalist covering it, so we could actually have an algorithm giving us information and pulling it together in a way, also supervised by a human being, having a journalist. So there's a lot of jobs that you wouldn't normally think would be taken over and we would value very highly, like a doctor or a journalist. But I think a lot of times we forget that we are very, very human, and there's things that humans are very, very good at that machines will never be good at. And for me, it was a joke sort of saying and using it to prove a point that we need to value and rethink how we value the different jobs that we do. That you may not think and may not value sort of cleaning a toilet or customer service or a lot of these jobs, but a lot of these jobs are incredibly important. And especially when you can have computers taking over all these other jobs, because ultimately what we need to do is use our technology to make us more efficient and to have our technology adapt to us in really, really different ways. So I always use that story about how a computer can't clean a toilet to sort of get people to embrace the human side of the future of work, that there are things that human beings are really good at that a computer will not be good at. There's things like human intelligence, right? Human beings are very good at communicating with other human beings. And a computer is actually quite terrible at that. And another thing that human beings are very, very good at is something called disparate cognitive synthesis. So that's taking lots of inputs, taking lots of information from lots of different areas and putting them together in new ways and coming up with a new idea. Human beings are great at that. That's where innovation comes from. That's where, brilliant works of art come from, is this disparate synthesis. And computers are terrible at that. Computers are not very good at that. And so I've always pushed people that we should make sure that we're using our machines to make us better workers, using our machines to make us more efficient. But really we start to use our machines to make us more human and to allow us to be more human instead of to dehumanize us.
We have about 1.5 minutes before we go into commercial break. And before we say goodbye to each other and see you next time at my studio with James and everyone who you would think would be appropriate to bring here for your next introduction, including my steampunks, that's something new. Wherever you will come up with, let's talk about that. And what would you like to wish for our listeners and viewers?
I would tell everybody to think of the future not as a fixed point on the horizon, but think of the future as something that's always in motion, that the future is made every day by the actions of people. Human beings, all of us, build our own future, whether it be the future of our own lives, the lives of our family, the lives of our communities or our business, and so that everybody needs to be an active participant in their future, and that if you want to, you really can affect the future and make it better.
Great. So we're part of the future, and I learned a lot today. We have more to learn, and I guess I will be seeing you in another conference coming soon.
That would be wonderful. I look forward to it, Olga.
Yes, and thank you very much for being at our show. I was very pleased, and I know all our listeners have been pleased too, and we had phone calls, and I will send those questions and prepare them for the next interview. So would love to hear from you soon. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Спасибо, что вы слушаете программу «Русское универсальное медиа» на канале U92.3 FM. Слушайте нас каждую субботу с 6 часов вечера, чтобы узнать побольше, что варится у мамы на кухне.
Stop cleaning the office yourself and replace that ineffective janitorial service by calling AM Janitorial Services. Licensed and insured, they have been serving the Bay Area since 2003 and can handle any office space up to 500,000 square feet. Whether you need office cleaning once a week or 7 days a week, you can always count on them to be honest, professional, and courteous. Put them to work for you by calling 408-201-2101. That's 408-201-2101. And don't forget to ask about their free estimates.
Universal Media Access offers full-time employment positions from time to time in a variety of broadcasting disciplines. If your organization is interested in receiving notification of these job openings, please contact Tanya Sternberg at 408-440-0851. Your organization will be contacted whenever Universal Media Access has a full-time job opening. Call 408-440-0851.
Universal Media Access is an equal opportunity employer.
Hello, I'm Glenn Brooks. Welcome to Vibrant Living. Vibrant Living appears every Saturday right here on 92.3 FM. You're going to learn everything you've wondered about in terms of wisdom, resources, natural health, entrepreneurship, how to write your book, nutritional remedies for things that maybe you didn't hear about, how to take care of your skin in ways you probably don't know about. Join me and Michael J. Russ, a speaker and author of the wonderful new forthcoming book, Sun Wars, Decoding the Crazy World of Sun Care, right here on KSJO 92.3 FM, and realize your life's precious. And oftentimes the ideas and the beliefs that have been fed to us have nothing to do with this big life we're meant to live, this connection we're meant to experience. And more than just an interview program, you'll actually learn and experience and become part of my team, part of my Vibrant Living family. Again, I warmly invite you to listen every Saturday on KSJO 92.3 FM. I'm Glenn Brooks. Join me.
Thank you for listening to U92.3 FM,
the Universal FM.
If you'd like to have your own show in your language on U92.3 FM, give us a call today at 408-440-0851. That's 408-440-0851. Or send us an email to u923fm@gmail.com. For more information, visit u923fm.com today.
Hello everyone, this is Olga Show. We continue with our interview. Just before that, you had an interview with Brian David Johnson. Thank you, Brian, for being with us. You can find us on Ustream right now by searching Olga Show. You can call us at 408-912-5265. You can also find us at www.olgashow.org or olga-show.com, and all of the information there. You can tweet, you can Facebook, wherever you want. Just search for Olga Show, and I'm pretty sure you will find us. But live right now, live on air, 408-912-5265. We have another interview coming up with Nicholas James. Hi, Nicholas.
Hey, Olga. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's pleased to meet you, and I actually meeting you first time, even so I heard a lot about you. Besides that, I was kind of... wonder you drop out of the school, but you're also successful entrepreneur. So what is it? It's another garage story, or how would we call that?
I would say it's a lot of hard work.
A lot of hard work. So did you drop out of the school because you wanted to be entrepreneur, or what was happening with that?
Well, you know, I never really did like school. I only liked certain subjects of school, math and science and coding, things that were interesting to me. And a lot of the school I found out was not geared towards that. I was learning things that I didn't really care about. It wasn't very engaging. And for me, doing things that I love, I'm passionate about, that are fun for me, that's what's exciting.
Okay, I don't really want to promote not to go to the school.
No, school's good, yes.
Did you ever got your high school diploma at least?
I did, yeah. So I dropped out of high school my sophomore year. My parents said that's okay as long as I go to school continually. So I went to college early, about 3 years early, and then I went to college, junior college, for 2 years, and I dropped out of there when I was told that I was taking the wrong classes. I was taking coding, programming, science, and math classes, and I wasn't taking English and history, which I was supposed to be taking. At that point, I said, that's okay. I'll go do something else.
So your English is good. You don't have Russian accent, by the way. My requirement to be at my show, we have to speak some Russian language or learn some Russian words.
I would love to learn some Russian words.
Okay, which one would you like to learn? Let's see, let's try.
How about entrepreneur?
Actually, I think it would be entrepreneur, right? Timur.
Very good.
Entrepreneur.
That's
very
easy
close
for me.
On entrepreneur, right? So I want to know, we have been talking entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's exactly correct. I'm just checking with the newcomers from Russia because I don't even know. But what other word would you like to know? See, we just take it from English to Russian. We don't even bother to make our own word.
How about startup?
Yeah, it's actually called a startup.
Да, в России это стартап, а entrepreneur это предприниматель.
Okay, we can say предприниматель too. Предприниматель for entrepreneur, maybe.
Предприниматель.
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 Предприниматель. This is one of the hard ones. Okay. All right. And then easy one, director, boss, like a manager.
Okay.
The same. Even being creative, we say креативный, kind of close enough.
Креативный.
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 Yeah, see?
Okay.
You learn Russian.
All
okay.
right. Very
Back
good.
to English. So I know it's also Rob Lau with us. Hi, Rob. Nice to see you again in our show. And I know it was your recommendation to bring Nicholas James. Why you were so excited about Nicholas?
Well, Nick and I are actually partnering on an event on Monday. It's the elevator pitch night, and it's kind of exciting because it's sort of a format that allows people to go up for 60 seconds and just
60 seconds, 1 minute.
1 minute, quick elevator pitch, and we'll probably have 30 or 40 people doing that. We have an awesome panel, and Nick was instrumental in putting together the panel. In fact, Nick, you want to talk about the panel?
Sure. So, first of all, elevator pitches are extremely important, and I've actually had to do this a few times. It's mainly escalator pitches for me.
Right.
But so piquing someone's interest that you don't know, you're not sure exactly what their background is or what their interest is, to get them to ask you more questions or to set up a subsequent meeting is extremely important. So we put together a panel of Adeo Resi, the funded Founders Institute of StartX board member, and John Sonnenberg from Blumberg Capital, and Roger Royce, a prominent attorney for startups around the Bay Area, to basically for people that want to get feedback on their pitch to understand whether they have a good idea, whether they're communicating it properly, and how they can improve it.
Okay, by the way, all of the winners, not all, but the winners, I think one of the best company will be giving 5 minutes live on air, right? We're going to give them fame and acknowledgement. Not only that, I'm going to try that 1 minute of elevation speech just so I will be in their feet, kind of, their foot, right? Being part of that. Okay, I get 1 minute. My God, you get more in my show. But fine, I will play your rules and just put myself in feet of the entrepreneurs because and startups and see how that feels.
We even have some awesome prizes. Of course, the event is free, like most IPO events are free. And yes, there's lots of food, lots of pizza for those guys that like pizza, and you know who you are. But yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about prizes?
We're giving $1,000 away to grant to scholarship to the Founders Institute to the top prize, and then also a meeting with John from Blumberg Capital and a consultant with Roger Royce. Those all are unvaluable prizes within themselves. Products from Microsoft as well, and then everyone who walks through the door gets a $50 application fee to Founders Institute waived.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I know you have to actually survive through Founders Institute, and I know a few of those students who actually, some of Russians, and you are one too.
I am one too, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I know a few who actually survived that, and I saw presentations, so that was wonderful. I saw presentations of those students.
Yeah. So anyway, those are prizes for the best pitchers, but we have our usual door prizes that you see at the end of every IPO event. And Microsoft has been a great sponsor of ours. So in addition to donating prizes for the first and second place winners of the pitch contest, they're also donating software that anyone who attends has the possibility of winning. So plus the usual close to 10 different door prizes, and some of our sponsors are donating some surprise door prizes. So we're looking forward to a big crowd, and it'll be a great event. It'll be a party, right?
Yeah, it's in Redwood City at Nest GSV, which is a startup accelerator around here. One of the newer ones, but also one of the coolest ones.
I have been there. Is it on the first or second floor?
Second floor.
Okay.
Yes.
See, I already have been there, so I kind of aware, and I know the owners of the place, and that small world. And I have been there a few times already. So it would be nice to see them again.
Absolutely.
Because they have been producing those startups and meetups and pitch and demo events like nobody's business. And
they're really coming in strong.
That's true. So, and then coming back to Nicholas James here, your entrepreneurial spirit, did you feel that from early age in your life, before you drop out of the school?
Yeah, so every weekend, most every weekend since I was 9 years old, I've been working, fixing fences, digging post hole dishes, fixing tractors and that sort of nature, until I was 16. Then I started at a market research company. Then I was 18. I worked at an ISP, and I saw a guy making $160 an hour for clicking a mouse, and I figured, I can do that. Show me where to click.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good switch. It's like me. Or I'm a scientist, immunologist, microbiologist, and people said, why did you move to high-tech? Well, I figure out, do I want to work with real virus or computer virus? I mean, seriously, it wasn't a hard question to answer. Then I would like to know that getting funded, did you have experience?
I mostly raise small rounds. Most of it I self-fund.
Self-funded for your businesses or other people?
For my businesses, yes.
And did you have any successful stories you would like to share?
Well, as far as raising a round or
raising round, or your idea come up and have been funded, bought out. I know that at least one in 2009 was.
It never happens as fast as one would like. That's
not overnight.
Overnight success is what they always say is 10 years of hard work. Yeah.
Yes, I agree, because like people don't see all of the hard work you do.
Correct. And you never, it's when it hits, it's great to have a competitive round. It's great to have multiple people interested, but it does take a lot of time to gain traction to get that way. And what's frustrating I see in the Valley, and I think, Rob, you can agree, we were discussing this earlier, is that there's a lot of people that are coming here from all over the world just looking for funding. And I don't think that's the exact right approach. They should be looking for traction, proving out their business plan, making sure that they actually have something of use, of value. They don't know their numbers. They don't know their lifetime value of a customer. They don't know their cost per customer acquisition costs. And they go to angel investors and say, please give me $500,000 and I can build this awesome thing. It's not the right approach.
So what would you recommend?
I recommend to put as much hard work in it as possible, attract team members, get a product going, do some fast iterations of your product, and get those numbers filled out to the best that you can, and show some traction before you go out and start just looking for money. It seems like everyone out here is looking for an easy handout to prove out their idea works or not. They need to prove out their idea works before they go looking for money.
I want to add to that because, I do a lot of events, and a lot of people approach me, and a lot of them just got off the plane or train or whatever from somewhere else, and the first thing they ask me is, I'm here to get funded, who can you introduce me to? And I just kind of tell them, I don't think that's the best mindset. Now, to expand on the elevator pitch night, the idea of an elevator pitch, usually that's associated with getting funding, but we want to sort of expand on it. It's not just about funding. Maybe you want to
correct. Correct, Rob. It's also about attracting team members and partners, and in traditional and non-traditional partners. And that's something you need to do way before you go looking for money.
Yes, I think I read it somewhere where you had some ideas about medical devices. Oh, I'm like, something closer to my field, I can ask about it. But then you had dissatisfaction or disagreement with your other founders.
Correct. Yeah, one thing. Always work out the numbers before you really start talking about percentages of equity, partnerships, what the roles would be, and responsibilities, goals and milestones, to make sure that you're aligned with potential partners and people that you're going to work with for a long time.
So do you have to put it on the papers right away?
I would say after a couple beers and a few hours of conversation, you should send an email to follow up after that conversation of what you talked about so that everyone's clear.
Okay, I don't know if I can consider business as a relationship or not, so you don't have any misunderstanding and disagreements or high expectations or illusionary results.
Right.
You have expectations, you have high standards in business and everywhere, and then maybe it wouldn't go through, and then what? Then you just say, okay, that medical device, it's great, but what's happened to it?
It's unfortunate. I've seen so many great ideas and great devices and great people, and when you can't make a sustainable business around it, when it's just not going to work out, there's so many other great ideas that you need to make sure that it's one that you're extremely passionate about and that you're going to go all in on it.
Great. Did you see, Rob, a lot of companies which come to you with a lot of ideas and you'll never see them again?
All the time. And frankly, some of those ideas are just totally ridiculous. But someone planted in their mind that you can be totally ridiculous and someone will fund it and you can possibly change the world, which could be true in some cases. I'm more of a practical kind of person. But Nick, we talked a little bit about failure as part of the ecosystem in Silicon Valley. Have you failed personally, and what are your thoughts on failure?
Yes, I have, personally and in business. And so some prominent thoughts in the Valley is basically failure is acceptable and okay. And I'm a little more hesitant as to how acceptable and okay it is. I believe it's okay to fail fast. So if for instance, you've seen my bio. I've had several companies that I've started and spent 4 or 5 months working on and then decided not to pursue it. And I believe that is much better than long-term failure, than pursuing something over 5-6 years and then realizing, it's just not working out and keep going with it.
Well, it's good that you have your own break. Maybe some people don't have it, okay? Or it's like stuck somewhere somehow and never know. It's, I guess...
To sort of expand on that, are there certain personality traits that an entrepreneur should have, and are there certain people that really have no business being an entrepreneur? Maybe they should work for the government or something.
You know, I do see a lot of people with fantastic ideas that are brilliant at what they do, but they just don't seem to be an entrepreneur. And what I mean by that is they're not as resilient as you need to be. You need to have thick skin. It's every day you get knocked down with a million different people bombarding you with things that you're saying you're not doing correctly, or you don't have this, you don't have that, and you have to just be resilient and just keep charging ahead, knowing that your vision is right. Another thing that you need to have as an entrepreneur is you need to be able to take feedback. When people tell you that you suck, sorry for lack of a better term.
I say that all the time, and they get mad at me. They say I'm mean, but whatever. Right? That's the price of coming to my meetups.
I prefer when someone tells me that I have a problem with something so I can address it, fix it, and then next time I talk to someone else, I can see the question in their mind as they're about to, I'm saying something, I can have that answer ready for them. So I believe you need to be resilient.
Well, the way I look at it, I'm not doing you any favors if you're doing something that's really absolutely absurd and has no chance for success. In my mind, and I think I'm doing you a favor by telling you right up front, so you know early on. You can sort of discount my opinion, but some people don't like that, but maybe they don't have thick enough skin to be an entrepreneur.
Well, they have to understand probably right away in life that we don't have enemies, we have teachers.
Agreed.
And that way you can learn something from your teachers, and you don't have to take it too personally. Okay, somebody told you don't have to hate that person, you just take it and say, okay, or I can become a better person, or I can make this product better, or make my services better, or just stuck where you are, and that's it, and be by yourself for the rest of your life. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I like that message. Don't hate me because I say you suck. Well, how about this? So, Nick, do you have any advice for entrepreneurs, someone who would be starting out, given that you have a track record? What would you say to a young entrepreneur?
Going along the same lines that we're just talking about now, I would say that go out and get as much feedback as you possibly can from people that are authorities in your field or the areas that you wish to be an authority in yourself. Get as much feedback from them as possible.
All right. I know that I have another person in line who I would like to interview and kind of continue with that. So in Redwood City, Monday, May 13th, what time? We have that
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Just to clarify the schedule. So 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. is networking. So there are actually going to be some sponsors with some interesting exhibits, and a lot of them will be a surprise. So plenty of food, your favorite Costco pizza. I know to expect that at my events. I'd actually go pick it up myself. Last time I had 30 pizzas in my car. Can you figure that?
Did you still have smell in the car?
I think it's permanently smelling like Costco pizza, but that's the
maybe I should work with you and come up with a better ideas of healthy food. Would you like that?
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't charge you for that either. I just do it as out of good spirit.
Why don't you prepare the food next time for 400 people?
Prepare. I don't know about preparing, but I maybe... You know, we can see what we can do. Maybe we can bring some Russian food. I'm not sure. It will take some time looking for sponsors.
We heard that we have witnesses, so you're on the hook for that.
Yeah, but I don't know about sponsors. You find the sponsors, I find connections, because I like to connect and make people work.
Maybe not Monday, because that's 2 days away.
Yeah, but
some other time.
Okay, Monday we will have pizza. For another time we can think of something else, because if I will be coming, I cannot eat pizza all the time, okay?
Sometimes I have pizza 6 days a week. But anyway, so 7 is the program, so we're going to start some announcements, words from our sponsors, get right into the pitches, and again, we'll award the prizes, and then we'll have our usual door prizes for the audience.
And you're forgetting one important thing there from 8 to 9 is that Adeo, Roger, and John will be giving a talk on about what they know about how to be successful entrepreneurs. And these are, again, rock stars of our startup community, so it's great for anyone to listen to.
So I would like to invite them to my show sometimes, and we can schedule that, because I will be there at 6 p.m. at in Redwood City with you guys, and trying to even pitch. That would be fun for 1 minute.
Excellent. Olga is one of our sponsors, so we're grateful. And again, you can always RSVP, idea@ipo.com. Those hyphens, idea@ipo.com. So looking forward to having everybody on Monday. And Nick, any last words?
No, Olga, thank you for having us.
Okay, thank you. We're going to do pictures in a minute, so you don't leave while I have somebody else talking later after 8 o'clock. Thank you, Rob, for coming. And Anne, would you please come over here? You are live on air, Anne Sheen. and you have to come right away and start talking because you have 7:57. Yes.
Okay.
I know. With me, you have to be fast. This is like every second golden.
Okay.
So, Anshin, tell me about your funding events. Some sort coming up on May 16 in San Francisco, Super Club. I guess I will be partying in San Francisco with you because I'm helping you with that event as well. So,
Yes.
what is this event?
So it's my gazillionfund.com kickoff event. I just launched my platform. It's a free online crowdfunding or marketing platform for IT and mobile apps. It's like crowdfunding on steroids. And go to gazillionfund.com and find out more details. And the event itself starts at 6:30 at Supper Club in San Francisco on May 16th, and it ends the next day at 2 a.m. So the format of the event is from 6:30 to 9:30. We have demo tables and pitching, happy hour, food, special drinks, raffles to our lucky winners. And from 9:30 to 10, we have a presentation of reward to the top startup. The top startup gets a meeting with VP of Plug and Play Tech Center. And also the top 3 gets to be featured on the homepage of gazillionfund.com, which is for 7 days, which is a $700 value prize. And then from 9:30 to 10, we have the Supper Club's very own aerial show. And then from 10 to 2
Which is
dancing.
actually very good because I have been in that Supper Club many times. Like that club. And they do tremendous, nice work. And I don't even drink. So I don't drink alcohol. I mean, I drink water, hot tea, but I'm under 21, so... But I still go to clubs.
Okay, I thought you're 16.
Yeah, well, I'm actually 20. But anyway, okay. So they have aerial show. That's
Also,
very nice.
yes,
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
And then I sort of want to go over the raffles. We have some really nice prizes. We have accessories from Soul's Shoes and 2 free modeling workshop from Charleston Pierce, and a 1-hour consultation from Douglas Park of Women Law, and hot dates with some of the hottest, most eligible bachelor and bachelorette, like CTO of Blue Seed, and free $50 gift card for laundry. And we have a grand accessory from Lady Design, and our grand prize is free flight in Half Moon Bay and dinner and meet George. Super connector in the valley.
Okay. By the way, I saw the names of those hot dates. Some of the Russian ones I know. So I would not say them live on air. They can go and check that on her Facebook and find that out. But what can I say? The world is small.
Yes.
So...
Yeah, my Facebook page is gazillionfund.com, so you can find out more.
I know that you also support Sunny Karma. What is that?
That is like a charity auction site. You want to meet someone, and then you start bidding, starting at $1 to bid to be able to meet someone. Sunny Karma, and they have some right now. I believe they have 5 people on their site to be bidded to meet.
Oh, really? I did not know. I guess I don't know something, but I saw they supporting Lymphoma and Leukemia Society, so I'm learning something new today. Okay. All right. So, and that's what I thought. So I know that they send me event they're trying to do. It's support Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Do you know anything about that?
I do not know much about that, but I know some of the rock stars in the valley are supporting the Leukemia Society, like Roger Royce, like the earlier show mentioned him, and KP, quite a few rock stars in the area supporting that.
Okay, good. So I hope I can meet all those people because I love not only smart people but caring people as well, because you can be smart but could be a really bad person, and then I'm like, okay. So caring is very important, and giving back to the community, because we live in the community, we want it or not. Otherwise, just go to the mountains, live on the top of the mountain, and just stay there. And no Wi-Fi there, most likely. So no internet connection. So, but anyway, how did you come up with your idea of organizing your event and your company?
While organizing my event, basically I'm launching my gazillionfund.com. I launched it last week, and so I moved from idea to actually launch. It took me about 4 months, and when I had the idea sometime last October, because I've been doing funding matchmaking, not husband-wife matchmaking, but investor and fund seeker matchmaking for the past 7 years. It's very tedious because it's just like one-on-one, and the success rate is like 1%, success rate, and it's just too tedious. And then comes with the Jobs Act and all that. And so I look into this crowdfunding platform concept. And although I got the idea from Jobs Act, crowdfunding, but my platform is not fund seekers, fundraisers do not give out equity, do not give out control. So it's like the Kickstarter for IT and mobile apps only, but even better than Kickstarter because we have our own validation system. We provide evidence that the company and the people are real, and we also have outbound marketing, which is like one click you can advertise. Promote, market your product to millions of investors at a time. So with just a few clicks, so we're even better.
I don't know. I should probably try that on my own business, see how that works. So next time I see you, I can say, okay, that's what's happened. That's worked. That didn't work. Because right now, idea is good. You work on it 7 years, kind of thought about it, 4 years working on it and done it in 1 week. And I miss you last time at Pitch and Dem at CV funding.
Yes.
Unfortunately, but I'm gonna catch up on Thursday, May 16 in Supper Club, right?
Yes. Even if you missed this one, we have every last Wednesday of the month we have pitch demo to investor panelists at Plug and Play Center. Starts at 6:30.
Great. So what do you wish for our listeners? We have about 50 seconds to give wishes for our listeners.
You're all welcome to come, and then whoever's listening to Olga Show tonight, I'll give you 50% discount to have your demo table or event. And from now on, if you listen to this show, you'll get discount to be featured on my homepage of gazillionfund.com.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Can I be also featured on your webpage?
I'll give it to you for free, Olga.
All right, good. Wow, that's wonderful. I got something today, so I have present. That's nice. Well, thank you for coming today. And I know you had a wonderful idea, and now it's becoming reality. So, and that's what we wish for everyone. You are at Olga Show. You can call us at 408-912-5265, 408-912-5265. Also, Olga Show, Skype, and Olga Show 1, Twitter. So after commercial break, stay with us.
You're listening to U92.